PAC, ISC Square. Next is Ms. Pooja Bansal. She's the Director, Information Security, Fair Portal. And Mr. Nasi Prakash. He's the Head of Risk and Information Security, Lloyds Technology Center, India. Welcome all the speakers on stage. Dr. Abhilasha, you can start now. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you everyone. Yes, hope I'm audible. So I think after the series of sessions, what we have been hearing in last 2-3 hours under the theme of Pulse, that how cybersecurity is making the changes in the landscape, or what role the industry has to play, what kind of policy gears we need to change, and how the gaps have to be fulfilled. So I think we all understand here that cybersecurity is a very, very critical, not only for the industries, but as a society as a whole in that case. And the way technology is evolving on an unprecedented manner, the way digitization is, I mean, we are seeing in the country and the complete globe in that case, the way we live, we work, we interact is definitely changing in the year, I mean, right now also, and the years to come, we'll see a lot of other changes also. So I personally feel that we in India have various flagship schemes. So like we have Startup India, we have Invest India, we have Make in India. So same way we have Digital India. So I personally feel that it should be renamed. So Digital and Secure India maybe, so that we give a equal or a balanced approach to digital as well as how secure it is. So whatever the digital stack the country is progressing in, so let it be UPI or any other, and we see that a lot of other countries are also subscribing to it. So and the way the digitization is moving through these digital stacks, particularly not only in the urban, but I mean in the rural and you can say tier 2, tier 3 towns also. In that case, we are touching millions and billions of life there. So until and unless they also become educated about those things, and so I can say that you are getting digitally enabled, but in a secure environment. So I think that is very, very important. So that's why I say it should be digital and secure India in that case. And definitely when we know that the way it is moving, for sure we'll be requiring a lot of people who should come and join the workforce. And this can only happen once we have these 3 C's, and that's the topic for our panel discussion also, that how we cooperate, coordinate and collaborate in that case, so that this skill gap can be fulfilled. So I think we can start from Arindam. If you can briefly introduce yourself, and a common question for everyone, where you can say what are the critical or emerging skills candidates should have once they join the cybersecurity workforce as a fresher, or maybe somebody who has joined the workforce in last 3 to 5 years, how they have to upskill themselves also.
Thank you so much, and good evening everyone, and good evening to the panelists over here. Myself Arindam Roy, I'm the Country Director for South Asia for Science Institute. Coming to the questions, what are the emerging skills and trends coming up in the market in cybersecurity? We have seen in the last couple of years, lots of investment has gone on the cybersecurity skill development, especially into AI part, machine language, and data science. Data is critical, though the part on network security, the web security remains the same. The cloud, AI, and machine language plays an important role as of today, and securing those is important to us. Coming for the freshers, what you have said, or the people who are starting their career in cybersecurity, the trends or emerging things which has come up is that everyone wants to become a hacker. I'm not sure why. Okay, maybe it's a very cool term called hacker. That's why everybody who is coming out from a college or a university wants to tag themselves as a hacker. But in an organization, it depends the way you attack, the way you have to defense also. So nowadays, more and more, trends or the skill sets are coming in the defense technology, and the purple team, which is a collaboration between the offensive and the defensive, the blue and the red team will be emerging in the near future.
I think yes, we can.
Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Pradipto Chakrabarti and I work with CompTIA, which is one of the world's largest vendor neutral certification body, and specifically in cybersecurity. So Dr. Gaur, to your question, I think if you look at the framework, be it the NIST, NICE framework in the US or the skill framework that is there in Europe and even the Sector Skills Council in India, I think the whole thing, if you look at from a 30,000 feet, it's basically identifying, protection and then defend and detect. That whole SOAR, the security orchestration process. So that would be the overlying, kind of framework. If you talk about breaking down into somebody who is, and I work a lot with academic institutions, with students, speak to them one-on-one, I think the core would be understanding the fundamentals, understanding operating systems and networking. I always give the analogy that, to become a good cybersecurity professional, it's like being a goalkeeper, So the first thing that the goalkeeper is taught is the length and breadth of the goalpost. And I think that is what needs. So application, infrastructure, data, endpoint, security. That's the fundamental core competence that everybody who needs to get into in a level 1 kind of a job role in cybersecurity needs to have. Apart from that, of course, there is a bit of identity and access management and so on. Once they start working, Arindam just mentioned about the blue team, red team. Now we also have purple team. But then there is a lot of other things that comes up. For example, more from an architecture standpoint, such as zero trust, SOC management, and so on. So threat intelligence and stuff like that. That's more for people who are, at an expert level or moving towards expertise. In our latest state of cybersecurity research, there are 3 very interesting skills that have come up. Of course, AI, ML has creeped into it. It was not there last year. So obviously there's a lot of, discourse going on around how AI will change cybersecurity. And since the beginning of this track, I think we're hearing the same thing. And apart from that, regulatory understanding of regulatory, policies. So be it a GDPR or the DPDP Act in India. So regulatory practices. And the third one, which is very interesting, is data analytics. All cybersecurity people should be good in data analytics. So those are some of the skills that are, kind of preferred in the industry today.
Yeah, I'd like to say, I actually thank you to DSCI for inviting me to be part of this panel. I'm extremely privileged to be here. So I've been here since the afternoon where, we were talking about AI, we're talking about, industry cooperation. I should have introduced myself first. So my name is Clayton Jones. I'm the Regional Managing Director for ISC2, overseeing, I would say, the APAC region. I'd like to actually just take a step back and look at data. Close to around 42% of the workforce in India, like the cybersecurity workforce, are under 3 years. The global average is around 33 or 34%. So it also speaks to our demographics. Then we have heard a lot about the fears and also, say, like the positives that come, like with AI. Close to around 56% of the workforce that, like other cybersecurity professionals that we surveyed, said that their jobs, their tasks within their jobs are going to change. 82% of them said it will help them become a lot more efficient. Now, yes, with ChatGPT and everything, it's come to the top of mind. But if we look at automation within cybersecurity, it's been there for a while. at the SOC level. I mean, like it has been. So there will be individuals, or I would say individuals would need to look at the skills, how do they add value? And so we'll just share like what skills were going to be replaced or, tasks were good. And that is, how do you analyze behavioral patterns? How do you automate repetitive tasks? How do you monitor network traffic and detect malware? And the last one being, how do you predict areas where there could be a threat or where there could be an incident? So we understand what jobs are being or what tasks are being automated. We understand, where we are, and then we have you've got AI, even in our study, AI, you've got cloud security, you've got zero trust implementation, you've got forensics. So these are the other large areas, but I think the importance is to actually build on the fundamentals, because technology will change, it will evolve. And if you have strong fundamentals and you are able to demonstrate that you have the right aptitude, you've got, also those cognitive skills, that I can talk about later. But those would be the key, I think, to actually being successful or when you're entering the profession.
Right, thank you. Yes, Pooja.
Hi everyone, I am Pooja Bansal. I head information security at Fairportal. So I'll talk from a consumer standpoint, because being in the industry, I'm one of those people who hire professionals, whether it is fresh hires or experienced hires. From my perspective, when we talk about the fresh hires directly out of college, we really do not expect too much from them. Just understanding the basics of information security, or that we call cyber security, understanding what goes into networking, what all are the verticals within information security. As Arindam rightly said, today if you talk to a lot of freshers or people who are still in college, for them cyber security would just mean hacking. Hacking is just one part of cybersecurity, or rather, it is not even cybersecurity. It is the offensive side. There are various areas. We don't even talk about governance, risk, compliance, the understanding of regulatory requirements, the understanding of standards such as ISO 27001 or the other DPDPA, PCI DSS, NIST, SANS requirements, etc. So there are so many frameworks that are available, but these people typically do not invest into understanding of these basic concepts. Then there are areas like SOC, areas such as the defensive side, when we talk of vulnerability assessment, penetration testing. You may not know everything as a fresher, but what is it and what are you expected to do if you are in any of these fields? And then the understanding of the emerging trends. One is, what are these emerging trends? And two, you need to secure these emerging trends. When we talk about cloud, when we talk about AI, ML, etc. One, these are things that you are going to use in cybersecurity. Two, you need to also ensure that these are secured, because eventually when you put these to use within cybersecurity, who's the person who's going to ensure that that is also secure? For experienced hires, the understanding should be a little more matured. You should know what vertical of cybersecurity you are in. You may want to jump from one vertical to another. However, you need to understand what that vertical typically means.
Yeah, thank you, Pooja. Yes, Nasir.
Good evening, folks. My name is Nasir Prakash. I head up the Risk and Information Security for the Lloyds Technology Center out of Hyderabad. We are probably the youngest GCC in the country, and we've grown from 0 in November 2023 to 2,000 as we speak. So we have the fastest growing GCC, I would also say that. Now, personally, I've been in this ring for over 2 decades. I've built a lot of teams in And I've seen the evolution from information security to what is today called cutting-edge cybersecurity. I'm going to cut through all the jargon. The question was, what is it that I look for? What are the skills required to start a career in cybersecurity? In my opinion, there are only two: common sense and crazy inquisitiveness. Everything else can be learned. But if you don't have common sense, and if you don't have that absolutely insatiable desire to ask, to find out more, to search for more, then I think it's better you become not a cybersecurity professional.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think that's a good thing. The two skills which you say, and I'm sure people can relate to it who are there in this ecosystem. So coming back to Arindam, you, what do you think that what are the most promising career people can have once they'll be joining this industry?
Once I would put it in a different way. Okay, for the cybersecurity part, the basic learning should start from the high school level. So that's my point of view, and that's what we practice across the globe. So there should be programs run by the governments in collaboration with the industry leaders, where the students from high school should be made aware of what cybersecurity is, what are the common threats, or what are the emerging trends coming up. Then we move into the later stage, like we have partnered with NASCOM Future Skill Prime with one of our foundation course. That is a program what we have gone into in order to strengthen the skill sets for the foundation levels into the universities and the college pass out students. Similar kind of programs what we are doing in across other countries, like UK, we have a program with the UK government called Skills for Life, and it's for from standard 8 to 12, a 4-year program where the programs is being run by the UK government in collaboration with us. Similarly, with Singapore, we do a Skill Future program. We run a best load program. Like this, we want to contribute to the community in building the skills and other things. In terms of the career, I see the cybersecurity would be the one of the top most demanding career for in the next 10 years or 15 years down the line. As long as the data is critical, as long the people works on the data science and the data analysis, the cybersecurity would be an important career options for everyone.
Right, absolutely. Moving to Clayton now, I want to know that definitely we are asking that we'll be requiring a lot of people, and in the first question everybody spoke about that what are the desired skills or the critical skills fresh graduates should have. But we definitely understand when the industry come and speak that whenever the candidates are joining the workforce, there's a lot of training which has to be given to these candidates before they align to the company's requirements. So what do you think are, what are the biggest gaps we want to know, and any suggestions from your side how they can be addressed also?
The gaps?
In the skill gaps, in the fresh graduates who are entering the industry.
So, I mean, so when you talk about gaps, there will be, like ma'am, you had mentioned on some of the tools, right? And also some of the tasks. So role-driven, task-driven, pen testing, so those would be areas. The other is obviously being aware of the new, like the new technologies. But then when we look at what hiring managers are, looking for, and they, like as Nasir had mentioned, you have to teach, and they will have to get training, because I think even the expectations. So sometimes when we look at entry-level job descriptions, I mean, you're looking for a brain surgeon. It's in terms of the role, and then but then when they join, they are asked to do something else, right? I mean, so there is that. So I think that job descriptions need to be really made very, very clear. But in terms of skills areas, you've got cloud, you've got AI ML, you've got zero trust implementation, you've got malware analysis. These would be, the four. And then if you're looking from the GRC side, then the being aware of regulation and all the different compliance requirements. It all depends what your background is and how do you then intend to progress within that space.
So a follow-up question also from you. I think your company undertook some research. Will you like to share some of the interesting findings of that research?
So the research that so I have some, so I had actually talked about the main areas. What we had done is with the hiring managers, there is actually a bit of disconnect between what individuals think hiring managers are looking for and what hiring managers are actually looking for. Hiring managers also themselves recognize that AI is going to change the landscape. AI is going to change the tasks, individuals, and they are not sure what that change will be. So then what you do is you look at the ability, I would say more of the innate ability of the individual. As you had mentioned, you're looking for common sense, you're looking for someone who is looking at constant learning. So the areas they had identified was individuals with problem-solving skills, teamwork, looking at collaboration, curiosity is there, and communication. So they've rated non-technical skills at around 51% rated non-technical skills higher than the technical skills.
I think that's very, very interesting take on this. So coming back to Nasir, definitely we are seeing that what are the skill gaps, but can you throw some light on the demand of cybersecurity graduates or the new entrants who will be required in the coming years?
Okay. Well, I'm not very good at predicting the future, but I'll try to look at what is happening and what is driving this demand. And to my mind, there are three key factors that are driving the demand for cybersecurity professionals. I'll start with India, and then we'll take it global. So in India, it is the digital transformation that's happened in the country, the reach, the national identity, the financial inclusion, coupled with the cheapest data on the planet, has actually increased from a cybersecurity professional's perspective. It has blown up the attack surface, right? So that's one. Your attack surface has gone just from corporate offices to the chai wala, the pan wala, the vegetable vendor, to every single village household. UPI scams are nothing new, or rather they have become the rage now. They will continue to fly under sophisticated systems because your systems are triggered to set an alert at 5,000 rupees. However, with UPI, I can take 5 rupees from 100,000 people and it will still fly under the radar, right? So democratization of the internet in the country has blown up the attack surface out of proportions. The second part, I think a lot of people have mentioned it already, is the regulatory and the compliance demands that are coming in. DPDP is coming in, the IT Act is already there, you have all the international regulations, and with the global economy, I think we are bound to ensure that the cybersecurity postures align to those frameworks and requirements wherever we do business in. And the third is the rising level of sophistication of cyber threats, right? The UPI example I gave was absolute common sense from the other side. And yes, I kind of wear the badge of a hacker with a lot of pride, because I think it's rather unfair to call or rather associate hackers with only the bad guys. Because effectively, the entire internet started with hackers. The computing industry started with hacking, right? And a hacker was who? Someone who hacked away at a keyboard with an absolutely curious mind to try and find solutions of how to make things work. From a hacker's perspective, it is great. The sophistication can be both the sides, and it's good business, right? So while that business is good, from the India story perspective, I think India is very uniquely positioned from a cybersecurity demand perspective, cybersecurity professional demand perspective. We had a workforce of, if I'm not wrong, about 300,000 cybersecurity professionals in 23. Job postings on cybersecurity have increased by 81% between 2019 and 2022. I don't even have the stats for 23 and 24, so those would be even larger. How are we going to meet this? How do we meet this demand? I think it has to be training of the mindsets, starting from academia, organizations, internal, democratizing the training, having cybersecurity training not just for cybersecurity professionals, which a lot of organizations do. We make a cybersecurity capsule, make everyone go through the cybersecurity capsule, or rather make all the cybersecurity professionals go through those capsules. But for the rest of the population, what do? We publish, oh, you shall not do this. And we consider that as a cybersecurity training. It is not. That training has to be democratized. The knowledge has to get democratized so that more and more people join hands into the security mindset change that we need to have. The government is doing its part. I'm very encouraged by the Cyber Commandos initiative that's been launched, 5,000 Cyber Commandos. Are they going to change the world? No, but they are going to actually be that seed that will start to change the world. The other thing that
One more thing, will you like to suggest some major reforms also for the training of cyber education in that case?
Okay. Reforms. I think there are 5 things as far as reforms are concerned. More than one thing for sure. But I'd like to, have we had reforms towards cybersecurity or education systems focusing on cybersecurity in the past? Absolutely. We've done this. As a nation, we've done this. As organizations, we've done this. As small teams, we've done this. Or we want to train people on cybersecurity. And those reforms fail. 90% of the time, we've seen them fail. Why does it fail? I think it's very important to address that. In my opinion, they fail because studies have shown that more than 82% of the time, the focus is on tools, not on people. Right? We want you to learn firewalls. We want you to learn, SAST, DAST, frameworks, this, that, everything. But attacks are not happening against systems. Attacks are happening against the flaws that are being run by the people, by the humans. So even when you look at it from the build side, the vulnerabilities are creeping in because good code is not written. I'm not even calling it secure code. I'm calling it good code. So what needs to change? I'm sorry. You can make out I'm rather passionate about this. So what needs to change? Focus on mindset over tools. Tools are transient. Principles endure. There was, anecdotally, if I look at it, there was one company that kind of started an initiative where it said, pause and question uncommon requirements or requests. And just by that, over a period of a year, they saved more than $1 million on just unnecessary things that could have happened. The second is practical hands-on learning. If there's any cybersecurity professional in the room who can tell me that when there is a breach, what do you do? Do you open a book and refer to the framework? Theory will not save us during a breach. So what do we need? Simulations, real-world scenarios. Why? Because those build instinct. And cybersecurity is not about learning a tool. It's about building instincts. Learning to act is what practical training will give us. The third piece is behavioral focus. Almost all attacks, it is now acknowledged, exploit human nature. So how much do cybersecurity professionals learn about human behavior? The other side, the attackers, have a very deep understanding of human behavior. Right? Phishing emails are designed to trigger an emotional response. They understand. We as defenders, do we spend the same amount of time trying to understand human behavior? No. All we want to do is learn, okay, block this IP range. That's not going to cut it. I keep talking about this, the power of common sense. Simple hygiene factors. Verifying emails before you click on them, or verifying links before you click on them, making sure that you don't use the same password across 50 different accounts that you have, questioning anomalies. Just these things have been known to reduce breaches by over 95% if they are followed accurately, or if they are followed not accurately, diligently. The last piece is about inclusive, continuous learning that we need. And I spoke about that a little earlier. We heard folks talking about gamifying scenarios. Gamification is great because it actually puts a real-life situation out there for people to test, learn, and take away. So if I was to kind of sum it up, ma'am, if we don't forget the fundamentals, like networks, databases, then I would say, please, for our training's sake, forget the tools, train for instinct, critical thinking, and common sense. Because when the stakes are high, when you are in a room when things have blown up, these are the three things that are going to get you out of there.
Thank you. So on this note, where Nasir spoke about how the reforms to come for the cybersecurity training from academia per se, but as you said that you are on a hiring side, so what do you suggest that what kind of collaboration, cooperation, coordination we look from the industry side also, let it be in terms of practical training or in terms of internship?
Absolutely. So I think first is on the building of curriculum. While there has been a lot of reforms or a lot of initiatives that have seen in the academia side on building cybersecurity courses, it is still not enough. You will not find too many courses on cybersecurity or too many colleges, institutes who are having graduates out of cybersecurity. So we are typically hiring graduates who are from, say, CS background, CS, or MTech background who are specializing in cybersecurity. So the number of institutes need to increase, and then the course curriculum that is built for these institutes need to be in collaboration with organizations so as to have things which is on a regular basis and which incorporates the requirements of organizations, be it private or public sector requirements. That's the first thing. And then a regular review of that curriculum is required, because if you look at the industry, the cybersecurity industry changes at a very fast pace. 3 years down the line, or rather 4 years down the line, we were talking about just cloud. Now it's just AI. And then maybe 3 years later, we'll talk about something which is, again, a trending term, a new coin term. So that needs to happen on a very frequent basis. Nasir talked about one very important thing, doing real-life simulation. Hands-on training in institutes is very important. I remember I graduated from a course which specialized in information security, and we had that proof of concept lab where we used to spend hours together doing simulations, understanding things, and then we understood what actually things mean. Today, when we talk to a cybersecurity graduate, they don't even know what a firewall is. They'll probably know firewall is meant for inside out, outside in blocking. That's it. They wouldn't know how does it look like, or what it really does, or what are the basic configurations of that. As a cybersecurity graduate, that is one basic thing that I may expect. I may not require them to know about, say, Palo Altos, Fortinets of the world, Junipers of the world, Ciscos of the world. But the basic understanding, what is a firewall, what is its configuration, what is it supposed to do, how is it supposed to work. This is something that we expect institutes to teach, and then have some practical experience in doing simulation, proof of concept, on-hands training. And maybe one final point is those guest interactions, industry interactions that happen along with the internships, having memorandum of understanding with organizations, getting people on board on organizations for having internship. And internships should be at least 6 months. I see people coming up for internships for 1 or 2 months. 1 or 2 months is something that you would just go, spend time, and leave. 6 months is a basic time period where you should do internship in order to try and understand what is expected from you. And based on that, then you start going forward, that understanding between, say, organizations and institutes on how they want to take it forward, whether they want to continue, develop into a one-year program, because it is from both sides. The organizations are investing in people when they hire interns, and then they want people to continue there because they have spent time there. And it is the same for institutes. The institutes want their students to get placed.
Definitely. We do understand there are a lot of skill gaps what we are talking about, but will you like to tell us that any innovative recruitment strategy that has worked for Fairportal? Maybe it will be helpful for the people who are attending also.
Maybe I'll keep it agnostic of the organization I work for, but yes, I've been in the industry for many years now, and I've been hiring a lot of fresh graduates from college, and that has worked out for us in a number of organizations that I have worked for. Typically, if you look at hiring of graduates, I think I have been one of those people who have not got that privilege of hiring fresh graduates from cybersecurity courses. I've basically hired from, say, maybe CS courses the most, because cybersecurity courses do exist, but they are very limited colleges that offer that. That's one. When we hire these graduates in the organization, it is important for them to come join the organization and understand the basic requirements and the skill set requirements, and then start working towards understanding first the organization. Cybersecurity as a concept is great, but until you understand what are you trying to do, what are you trying to protect, it becomes very difficult for the people also to do things. Say VAPT, it's one of the most fundamental things that can happen for any organization. But until you know what you're trying to protect, for a manufacturing sector, it will be very different. For an automobile sector, it will be very different. For an IT sector, it will be very different. For a travel organization, it will be very different. So one, try and understand the organization. What is it that you are trying to protect? And then go ahead doing things. There may be areas where freshers have their interest in. You may not want to do everything, or you may want to do everything, but that is something that you have to identify, and that comes with time.
Thank you. So we hear from the industries, Pradipta, coming to you. We are talking about various emerging technologies and how they are changing the landscape also. How do you think that, let it be AI or IoT, how it has to be embedded into the curriculum of these trainings in that case?
Sure, but before I answer that question, ma'am, there's music to your ears, because in this audience there are a few kids who are going through the similar program in association with our university partner. In fact, it's called LPU. They are here already, where exactly we are bringing that into the table. So we are creating churning students. Going back to your question, ma'am, is, and if time permits, I can share that used case later on. But going back to your question, ma'am, is that what I look at it is that if you are talking about AI or IoT, these are kind of subsets of technology that span across multiple job roles. Like you're talking about, say, a data scientist, or you're talking about infrastructure engineer, a server technician, or a cloud engineer. You know, these snippets will be there. So what we do is that in our courses, we embed those trends, or not the trends, but what we see in the industry very integrally with our curriculum. And that curriculum is picked up by the university partner and integrated into their curriculum as credit units. Apart from that, I think the bigger question is that going out of this subset of, say, an IoT or a artificial intelligence or machine learning, there are rather more larger trends such as blockchain, because as we go along, there will be a lot of implementation of blockchain, as we are already seeing that. And as we all know that the core of that whole technology is cryptography and cybersecurity. So what really happens is that we are, with some universities, we are developing curriculum which are like honors in cybersecurity with specialization in blockchain, or for example in digital forensics, or say malware analysis. So what happens is that over a period of 3 years, they go through the entire cybersecurity, and then the practical application is that malware analysis piece that they learn. So that is how we do. But the challenge is that, and everybody has spoken about that, even in the tracks preceding this, is that the motivation that why should students go in for cybersecurity. I think as an industry we are also to be blamed, because we've not defined those job roles very clearly. And that is where, when I talk to students, they say, okay, cybersecurity is hacking. Everybody's talking about that. Oh, that's great. But I think one is that they don't understand. Second is that the industry is not framing the job roles very properly. Especially, I'm sure the business people would have, but by the time it trickles down to the hiring manager, it just loses. Somebody talked in the earlier session about Chinese whispers. This is exactly that is happening. So that leads to the workforce gap. And pointing to the ISC2 report, I think 789,783 to be precise, number of workforce gap that is there in India alone as we speak. So we need to include those technologies out there.
So just a follow-up question for this, to bridge this gap. I do understand that what academia has to do, what industry has to do, but how critical are the upskilling of the faculties who are teaching in these academic institutions?
Ma'am, I think, in my opinion, institutional development is equivalent to instructor development. There are a lot of FDP programs that private and public universities run, but honestly, many of them are done for accreditations, like NAC accreditations and so on and so forth. What we do is that we engage in a lot of train the trainers and deep dives on a very regular basis virtually. That's what CompTIA does to all their academic partners, and that keeps the trainers and the, not the trainers, but the faculty members up to date with the technology. However, I have another sort of a crazy thought that we always talk about students' internships, like students should do 6 months, 1 year internship. Why don't we also talk about instructors or faculty members' internship? Because, see, the actual gap is how this challenge has come and how that engineer or an associate sitting on that console is solving it. That small nuance does not come to the classroom. So why can't we think about, during summer vacations, faculty members goes to the industry and shadows with a SOC engineer or a security engineer or someone, so that they can visually figure out rather than theoretically understanding and bring that into the classroom. So those are the few things that I would like to see in future. I don't know whether it'll happen or not, but yeah.
Right. Clayton, I would like to come to you and would ask you that Pooja spoke about that mostly she has hired people who are coming from computer science background or IT background or people from MTech. But do you think people from non-tech or non-STEM, can they make a career in cybersecurity? If yes, then I mean, if you can advise them on this.
Okay. I'd just like to add to
Yes.
what shared. And that's looking at hybrid faculty, right? I mean, so you'd have you'd have faculty that are delivering the core subjects, and then you have adjunct lecturers who would come from industry and then bring in some of the what's happening in the real world scenario. That's like also that's another thing, and I actually see that happening in Singapore with say like Nanyang Technological University, NUS, like and stuff like that. Now to the question that you had asked earlier, I'd said that looking at hiring more from the cognitive side, because technology will keep changing, and then if you are able to identify individuals, so there are tools. There are assessments out there in the market. I mean, one is CyberGen IQ, which which ISC2 engages with, and that's been used even within the U.S. Armed Forces to identify individuals that have certain skills, and they don't come from cyber, but then they get taught, and so that broadens. From the data, what we've seen is close to around 48% of like the respondents that we said that in India, they are using people from non-cybersecurity moving into cybersecurity. So there are organizations in India that are actually doing that to help bridge the gap. So with ISC2, what we had also done to actually facilitate this is this was like around 2 years ago, we had introduced the Certified in Cybersecurity, which talks to the basic fundamentals. You're talking about, say, the network layers, how many layers are there? Things just, and then once they go through that, and they're able to demonstrate that they have been able to understand and pass the certification exam, that then provides them with a pathway. And we've seen close to around 50%. So we actually started this 1 million CC program. Close to around 50% is actually engaged or related with more of our DI initiative. So when we talk about DI, it's not about just race or gender. It's also looking at those that are economically disadvantaged. And I think Cyber Siksha, which DSCI is running, is an excellent program. And I think the moderator had said that they all get placed in the big four. I want to go and join Cyber Siksha, but I probably won't qualify.
Absolutely. So any one of you, if you would like to share, that's the last question I have, that any of the use cases or any specific skills to a particular sector, if you'd like to share.
I'll just quickly share the use case that, which maps very well to what Pooja was talking about. We sat down about 4 years back with this university, LPU, which is based out of Punjab, Jalandhar, and we kind of sat down and designed a curriculum which has got a very it's very immersive in the sense that, of course, the first year is basically a standardized program, like you teach a basics of programming, and so on, and then mathematics and stuff like that. And the second year, the student is committing to being a cybersecurity professional, and that's where the course becomes more and more cyber heavy. And by the end of fourth year, they will have multiple skills, certifications, and so on. But the clinching factor, and there are students who are also sitting here from LPU, is that hands-on. You talked about that. Industry immersiveness with a lot of webinars and workshops that we came across, and every semester they have those industry workshops. CTF, Capture the Flag events that every semester has got curated design. And then, of course, there is a lot of mentorship, like career advice, mentorship, and so on and so forth. So we built that, and what we've seen is that from 2021, the number of admissions has grown up about 4%. And one of the critical factors is that we also worked with the admissions team to train them how to basically sell the whole concept of a job role rather than, oh, there is a computer science graduate, come here, we do this is our university, and so on. So that's a very quick, very high level used case that I can share because people are here from that organization as well. Thank you.
Right, fine. All right, so thank you so much. I think in a nutshell, if I can speak about, so definitely if we want to bridge this skill gap, so definitely we require a lot of C's, as our topic also says, collaboration, cooperation, and coordination. So definitely common sense, people who would like to join, the craziness, attitude, in their attitude who will be joining. The mindset is very, very important for them. Practical training, the longer internship with the industries, for the instructions, upskilling and upgradation programs for them, mentorship. So these are some of the key takeaways from our discussion, and definitely we'll be taking it ahead. And I said, let's make digital and secure India in the coming days. So that's all from our sides. Thank you so much to all the panelists for a lot of insights, and thank you so much for all the audience also for your patience. For the last session, so many people holding up, so big round of applause for all of them. If we have any questions, we'll definitely like to take it up. Yes, please.
Thank you so much to all the speakers. It was really interesting and insightful.
There's a question.
Acha, question. We're running very late actually.
Hello, am I audible? Yes. Hi, good evening everyone. My name is Nikhil. I run an offensive R&D company. It's a one of a kind.
Keep the mic closer.
Okay, so it's one of a kind offensive cybersecurity company made in India for Indian defense and critical infrastructures. So this is the particular thing that I want to focus on. Like we are almost on the closure of this event. So first of all, offensive security is very much an integral part of cybersecurity. As Pooja ma'am said that hacking is not a part of cybersecurity, I widely differ from that fact. I did offensive security for my past 15 years now, and I have a very strong opinion on that the cybersecurity solutions without offensive security, it's actually a blindest spot that you can have. Without testing your attack paths, without validating and blindly following MITRE coverage, it is going to give you a tough time. For example, let me ask everybody in this room, can you name a US APT? Do you know any hacking group which is state-sponsored and is originating by US APT? Indian APTs have been reported by US authorities. There are a couple of Indian APTs, but can anybody name a US APT here? I'm sure that nobody can name. I am giving you a name. It's called BVP-47. It's a particular APT that has already hacked into our critical infrastructures. They were already around our critical infrastructure, such as Indian Institute of Science, Indian Institute of Technology, and they have exfiltrated a lot of our hard-earned research, and nobody talks about it. And even MITRE does not have a distinction around that. So for sure, if we are training our cyber warriors, are we training them blind? That's the food of thought that I'm going to share, because there is a lack of indigenous cybersecurity researchers, cybersecurity organizations that are not funded by the West, does not go by the idea of West. And on the similar notion, I would like to ask Arindam sir, like, why don't SANS write about US APTs?
No, it's not about that. So we are, we give more focus on knowledge and development of the skills rather than a technology. Because technology can be learned, that's what we feel. So if you have the skill sets and the knowledge, definitely you can adapt it to any technology.
So, Arindam sir, there is a particular newsletter by SANS that I also follow. It is like every week we hear about the attacks, how they detected it and all. I really feel that there should be a special case for US-based APTs. The APTs working from Ukraine and are attacking our critical infrastructures. There is a need for that. And if our initiatives does not cover those aspects of cracking down US APTs and all, if the technology that are coming from West is blindly accepted, I think it is very flawed by design training approach for all of us. So it's like just a food of thought for all of you who are here. Like, are we at that stage that we have to go for indigenous research, and do we have to spend a lot more into our own cybersecurity things? Like, let's not fully go blind on MITRE coverage. For example, my company has already discovered an attack surface that goes beyond MITRE coverage. We call it Bring Your Own Reputation. It bypasses most of the Microsoft's defense by default, and it has not been patched since 2 years. So that's the power of indigenous research that you can bring on the table.
Yeah, I would request Neha to give this token of appreciation to everyone.